Hello and welcome to the Carnings. It's David again, and welcome to our third edition of Two Wheel Tuesday. Today on Two Wheel Tuesday we have my own personal race bike, the 2022 yz450f. So we'll go over a few of the specs. This yz450 is about 245 pounds, producing about 53 horsepower and 32 foot-pounds of torque. Now that is at stock setup. While there's not much done to this bike has a slip-on exhaust and just runs VP 110. Nothing spectacular. So we'll go over a few controls here, starting from the right to the left, working over your hand controls. This is your electric start button. This red button here will be line control. We move to the other side of the bars. This is your mode button, set up for two different modes that you could set up on the app. And this is your engine kill switch. Now if we start the bike up, these buttons will become illuminated. You could change from mode 1 to mode 2. Now I will show you which mode means what on the app. It is controlled by the app. So another new feature that you might not be aware of is the cold and hot start. So when the bike is cold, you would press this in and you would get a higher revving RPM. Another new option for the 2018 and up bikes is the location of the gas tank, which is located underneath the seat instead of in the front, and the location of your air box, which is located underneath the front of your body. Now I do have the no-toil oil air filter system over the stock. They do have some issues with backfiring. I also have drilled a few holes on the air filter box to let a little more airflow through. I don't know if it really makes too much of a difference. It does sound like it a little louder, but I don't know if that makes a real performance difference. Also, on a lot of the newer bikes, you have a blue anodized rim. It does look very nice. It will scratch easy though, so be aware of that. I have a Renthal, a 51 tooth sprocket. A little bit of a larger sprocket versus stock. I do have a skid plate. It's not real carbon fiber, but it sure does look like carbon fiber. Also the worksconnection hole shot device, which works great. Stops you from pulling wheelies on the line. And like I said, the FMF exhaust. Much bigger, yes, it has some damage on it. Did do a couple great wrecks. Tweak the subframe a little bit, but still a pretty solid bike. I did put hand guards on the bike due to a bit of a finger accident. I had a pretty large cut with 5 stitches in my finger. Another thing I've added is bar risers with a different adjustment point. Now there are 2 adjustment holes, let's call them, in your triple clamps. You could run the bars forward or you could run them in the lower position. I also have a 5mm offset. I don't know if you could tell there, but there is a 5mm offset, so I'm sort of in the middle. So I'm not running in that front position really. I'm running kind of in the middle. Better setup for myself. It kind of is personal to how you like your bars. Another thing that Yamaha has still not done yet, or at least not on this bike, is the hydraulic clutch. This is still a cable clutch. Comes down here. You could see it moving there. It is just cable driven clutch. Still pretty smooth. Not a bad clutch setup. If it's not broke, don't fix it, I guess. It works well. This cable is still stock from the factory. I have about 28, I think, or 29 hours on the bike. Now we will go over the Yamaha app. Those are some of the maps I have. This is a pretty cool setup. Currently I have Exciting Power from a Yamaha map on as my map. I think that's 1. And maybe it's map 2. Yes, map 2. I have Exciting Power as map 2 and Research and Development as of a map 1. These are some maps that a few rider pages have suggested. So I've actually liked the Exciting Power. Brings a little bit more torque and pull throughout the RPMs. Feels great. A lot of power. I've been running this for a while now, since 330. Now you can get in and actually log on to the bike. We could go on and look at the time that the bike is currently on. Now I take this back, I was way off on the hours. I currently have, if it focuses great, 22.95 hours, almost 23 hours on the bike. Like I said, I don't use this for a lot of trail riding. It's mostly just the racing. It does have this cool little setup here, kind of for like a handlebar mount. It will give you a lot of the features, your throttle control, your RPMs, your speed in kilometers for some reason. Haven't really messed with it very much, but it does hit you with your speed in kilometers. And get back to that. We will we'll fire it up, just give you a little overview. It will be loud, so you won't hear much of me talking. And your water temp, along with your battery percentage and how the day is supposed to be. I don't really ride with this that much on the track. I don't think it would be super helpful. Maybe on the trails, if you use this as a trail bike, I could assume that would be pretty cool to ride around, knowing a little bit of everything. It does have a few other little things, like a times for laps and everything, and a race log, so you could log your setups. It'll go into the maintenance mode setup, and then, like I said, mapping. So you could actually go in and you'd be able to adjust your fuel. You would be able to go in and kind of adjust your ignition. It'll set your points. It is pretty cool. I know the little bit older ones, you had to do it through almost like an OBD2 port and kind of go from there. This is kind of brings you to the 21st century. You can go in and kind of edit right on the fly and then just send the map straight out. It's pretty simple to send a map. You would just click it and send the map out, send your map, and it would go right over. Right now I'm not going to mess with my maps. They've been on there for a little while. Like I said, been running these 2 maps since 330. I have had these maps since I did purchase the bike. Originally just with that hard hitting one that came. Those are the 3 factory. You have hard hitting, you have smooth and linear, and then you have the linear torque. So not bad map setups. Like I said, you could also add and do other ones. I've changed and put slippery down there. Did that one a little bit different. Just kind of went over the maps. It's a great little app. Not a bad setup, but pretty cool. One thing I do want to say about this, there is no radiator fans. So you guys that are going to be using this for the trails, sitting and idling for a long period of time will cause this bike to overheat. We got some cool air ducts that come through here. The air will actually flow in through, kind of like a ram air style vent, which is kind of cool. Yes, it's a little dirty, I'm sorry. But overall, great bike, lots of power. We have our oil filter over on this side. That would be removed. I try to do my oil changes every about 3 hours. Like I said, I do race this bike. It is not just a putt around ride bike, but super powerful, super fun. Great running bike. Hasn't given me any issues yet. I know some of the guys have said they have thrown rods at 20 hours. Super healthy. Biggest thing is the upkeep on these bikes. You have to maintain them. This is not just your air-cooled Honda from the 90s. You really have to maintain these bikes. Here you can see the clickers and setup for the suspension, the bleeder and clickers for the front. There's also another setting on the rear, on the bottom of the front shock. But like I said, overall, great bike. Hopefully you enjoyed this Two-Wheel Tuesday, and I will see you again next time. If you guys have any suggestions, please shout them out. I have a bunch of bikes. I have friends with bikes. We can get the bike you want on here, and I will go over it. Any other questions, comments, shoot them out there. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.